well, while we're waiting for a few others to join in, I'll go ahead and start with the overview and purpose of this wonderful third installation of the block. What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining us. So this evening, we appreciate you being here because literally you could have been anywhere in the digital world, but you're here with us, so we appreciate that, okay? So tonight we're going to hear from a few funding structures and city officials about new offerings in response to COVID-19, which we're all very familiar with these days. We're also going to have a community conversation about ways to keep your art and business alive, if you will, during these shelter-in-place times. So the agenda is going to look a little something like this, okay? We're going to have Blues perform, and then we're going to have Kiva from Foundation for Carolina speak. Then we're going to have Ebony share from Arts and Science Council. Tim is also going to share from the Fair Play Music Initiative. And then we'll begin the community conversation. And then we'll talk about the May installment of the block. And then we'll get y'all up out of here so you can go and be productive with the rest of your day. Cool?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So that's the agenda for this evening. Day, I'll turn it over to you. If you want to introduce the man Blues.
Cool. So I'm sure most, if not all, in this at the block right now is familiar with this gentleman, award-winning poet, Mr. Blues. He's gonna bless us with a little piece before we get started. So Blues is off to you, bro.
What's up, everybody? Hope y'all doing well. So yeah, I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do, and Daily was like, "I know what you should do." So this is what I'm gonna do. It comes from the Who Am I challenge. I'm so thick with my ancestors' accents, I spit middle passage, saltwater passages. I'm a fortress built on quicksand, a last stand with a hold so close to fate that even Jesus would ask for a little space. I'm necessary. I'm the America only remembered for 28 days in February. I'm old school cassette tape popped in a boom box, rocking when the beat drops. I'm packed like a slave ship with soul and blackness. I'm analog heavy, a digital flex. This is for the slick cats who don't figure out that they are Malcolm X till after the process of head and toilet bowl, or bullets have bon voyaged them from Autobahn ballroom. I'm black soul with a pool like a black hole, electro funk spectacular black flip into oblivion. Boy, I'm ice cold. I'm classic good. Like K. Dot got damn it, it's side buried in my DNA. Got Harriet Tubman ready to human traffic my loved ones out of the prison system in my DNA. All gas, no brakes till we break chains, shatter the shackles and set loose the falsely imprisoned and accused. I got blues in my DNA, Mississippi Delta and mud holding the stories of black men murdered for a song. I got switchblade and slide guitar in my DNA, juke joint and pulpit prophet, spitting sin and gospel, sipping gin while spinning scripture from the Bible. When you dress me, make sure you put God in my title. I got the equivalent of platinum bricks. My words are expensive. I move these poems like Escobar shipments. These lines, they find your way into your system. These stanzas I've written be Schedule 1 because of their addiction. Tom Cruise my way out of impossible missions. Top Gun any maverick trying to play goose. I'll be ever clear with the truth, 180 proof. My career be the proof, been dope since telephones weighing inside a glass booth. Nigga, I'm trash proof. I keep a lid on these Oscar the Grouch dude. Lot of hate, green with envy. I guess they would be when I start flashing that in me, but I'm hella humble. But do know, I got that ego flow, I'll bury a nigga. Spit some young fly shit, have Miss Parker ready to marry a nigga. My comeback game better than Mayor Marion Barry, my nigga. I'm full of clips when I'm pushing these bars with malice. Now that's grinding. I think these dudes need reminding of who I be. Blues, not to be confused with crayons in a box grouped by similar hues. I'm hella different. I'm an outdoor barbecue at Christmas. You be your peppermint patty. I'm a truckload of Thin Mints. I'm no pretender. Like Aang, when I slang my slang, move earth, wind, and fire. Take language and air, bend it. Bear witness. See this brewing ruin a career by putting the pause on these poems where I come from. From where I come from, we be survivors, creatives, having to get creative on how we strive during a quarantine and overcome a coronavirus. This is our time. This is how we show the world our shine, how we get by. When our gig well runs dry, we collaborate and collide until we all rise. So who am I? I'm the reflection of everyone I see on this Zoom. Who am I? I'm greatness. I am you.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's
Dope.
what's up. Thanks, Blues. Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
But Blues, hey, real quick, what's your Cash App? I mean, you know, people want to donate.
Oh,
You know,
Mr. Blues, MRBLUZ, $MRBLUZ.
boom.
Cool, cool. So, Davida, before I turn it back over to you to introduce Kiva, just for those who have not used Zoom before, just some quick housekeeping. If you're not talking, please keep it on mute, or I'll help you with that. No problem. But also, again, we're gonna have time for you to ask questions. But there's also a raise your hand function. You'll see in the bottom if you're on your phone. Just tap the screen and you'll see reactions. Well, actually, not reactions, sorry. If you go to participants, you have a raise your hand function that you can select, and we will select you to actually ask your question. So again, we'll have time for you to do that. Just raise your hand and we'll turn it over to you to ask your question. So please keep it mute if you're not talking. All right, appreciate it. We'll get it back to you.
Actually, I'm gonna pass the ball to David. Go ahead, Dave.
Cool. How y'all doing? I am David Butler. Some folks know me as Dave Has Wings. I found a member of Hugh House. I will be having to, excuse me, I have to step out, helping to run another digital event, another Zoom call for work. But I did want to greet you all. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for supporting the block, supporting Hugh House. We appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Thank you for coming. So our first speaker is Miss Kiva Womble, MBA. She's the Senior Vice President and Director for Community Programs over at Foundation for the Carolinas. If you're not familiar with Foundation for the Carolinas, I would definitely do your research. It's a gym that we have here in the region, actually. One of the biggest funding structures in the region, and it's based here in Charlotte. Handling a lot of funds for a lot of different philanthropists and covering a lot of different causes across the city, across the county. So I'll pass over to Kiva and I will drop off the call. If you guys need anything, you know how to reach me. And I'll let Daly and Davida take care of you guys for the rest of the night. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Have a great, the block. I watched the recording. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. Hopefully everybody gets some info. Peace.
Thank you, David. You know, so Davida has become a person I really have high respect for and love her dearly. But I feel like I got set up coming after Blues. I mean, I'm from Detroit. That's all I got. That's all I got.
You got it. We got you, so it's all good.
So I have seen many of your faces before, and unfortunately, I don't think a few of you have had any interaction with me. Been in Charlotte almost 6 years with my family, and have been at the foundation almost 2 years, but my whole background has been corporate and community foundation work over 25 years between Detroit, Phoenix, and now glad to call Charlotte home, which is where I'm raising my son. So I also have to do a hard stop at 7 o'clock, but wanted to just share some resources that are available to you and speak to it from a couple of angles. So I'm part of a core team right now that's managing the COVID-19 response fund for Mecklenburg County. And so hopefully you all have heard about it, seen about it. If your organizations have either applied for funding, or if you've seen in our first round of funding, you may know an organization that we did give money to. And so, that we're in unprecedented times. I never thought we'd live to see anything like this, but I'm also very proud to see community come together as we have. And so just wanted to share a couple of resources. First, with the foundation, we are running our normal traditional grant cycles. Our volunteer committees are also responding to the pandemic right now, what we're in the middle of. So we are still running business as usual. We're all working remotely and working overtime, but happy to do it. This is the sweet spot of philanthropy. This is what we do. But in particular to tonight's Zoom meeting, I thought it would be helpful to share with you the fund. Again, if you go to the website helpcharmec.org, you will see the COVID-19 relief fund that is available for all nonprofits. You must be a 501c3 organization to apply for funding in the county. And so we are close to reaching $16 million. So the first part of it I'm going to state is that I think there's an assumption a lot of times in the Black community that we don't show up when it comes to collective giving, but we do. This is how we thrive. We're probably the most resilient people that I do know. And so, and I'd also like to see us continue to show up. So if you haven't given, make sure to encourage someone else, and you also be an advocate for our community, and no dollar size is too small, but we have got to raise these funds, because as exciting as $16 million sounds, I can't write a check. I don't know anybody that can write a check for $16 million. It will not be enough for what we are seeing in our community. And so I know we're a few weeks away from what has been forecasted as hitting that peak number, but we really don't know. And so this is going to be ongoing for quite some time. So that was my first plea, was to encourage everyone to make a gift of any size that you can. I think the minimum amount is $5, but $10, $20 collectively can go a really long way. So again, as I stated, we have already given out a first round of directed grants, close to $3 million. If you go to the website, there is a hyperlink on the lower bottom of the page where it talks about the grant guidelines, which the grant cycle will be opening again next week to receive new applications. Our committee actually just met today and they reviewed a second round of applications, so more to come on that. But we will keep doing this as long as we have money in the fund, which is so imperative why we continue to give. But that first batch, it was about 14 organizations, probably familiar with a vast majority of them, but it was important to come out the gate with identifying what are the priority needs in addressing meeting the response to COVID-19. And so we're talking about emergency financial assistance. We've probably heard about a lot of people, especially our marginalized neighbors and community members are really at a disadvantage here. If they were hourly workers and they're not working now, or even our arts community, the social distancing is impacting all of us. And so at some point, I think we're all going to be in some level of need. But there are—
Sorry, 1 second. Is she going out?
Responding from that first.
Yeah, she's breaking up.
Kiba, I'm sorry, you were breaking up
Okay.
That last little bit. We couldn't hear you.
Okay, so I was just mentioning, hopefully this is better. I was just mentioning that if you go to the Charmec website, you will see in full transparency all the agencies that receive funding from the first round, and we will be announcing in the next few days who's received funding from the second round. In the second round, to encourage other funders not applied to submit. The application cycle will open next week. If there's an organization, not sure if there's a rep on the phone. Now, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Davida?
Okay. Your video is breaking up a little bit, but your voice seems to be coming through.
Okay. Okay. So I would say that if you are an organization or know of an organization that may have applied and will not be announced for the second round, do not get discouraged. Apply again. There's just not enough money to continue to award out, and we're trying to make this money stretch. Of course, we could easily give out $15 million in one round, but we are nowhere near the end of this. And so it was important to be intentional about spreading that money out, which is why I make that plea for folks to continue to give to the fund. So I'm excited about that work. There is also a tab on the website if someone wants to be a fundraiser and use their circle of friends and sphere of influence to give. What's unfortunate at this time is normally you could kind of put out a plea for crowdsourcing or ask folks to give to a cause in your community, but this is happening everywhere. So that makes it a little bit more difficult to gather friends up, because they're going to say, okay, give $10 to, I'll give $10 to you, but give $10 right back to my community. And so it just doesn't end, but I'm excited to be a part of this effort. I'm excited that you all gave me a little bit of airtime to share. But again, I think we got to show up on both ends of this. Any amount, any size can help. There's a lot of capacity in our community. And I just think this is the time more than ever that folks need to come together. Somebody wrote coins for sure. Any,
Cool.
I'm happy to take any questions.
Yeah, so I didn't see any hands, but does anyone have any questions? I guess Davita has a question. We got time for 3 quick questions. She only has, 7 minutes now? So just make them quick questions. So let's go. Davita, you can be first.
Kiva, again, thank you for joining us. So just to be clear, this helpcharmec.org, these funds are only for nonprofits and not for creatives themselves, correct?
Correct. And so I think Ebony is probably going to talk about Arts and Science Council, the offering there. But yes, you're correct. However, if you are part of a nonprofit organization, I would encourage them, ask them, did you apply for that money with helpcharmec.org? So indirectly, this will hopefully get to the creative community.
Okay. And is there a minimum or maximum that we can ask for or apply for that you're aware of? Last question.
Range. So yeah, that's a great question, Davita. We are learning that we're kind of building this ship as we go. And so we did have a range that was stated on the second round, or I should say the first official round of an open call for applications. We will list that again. And again, that'll be available hopefully next week. I think the cap we were saying before was probably about 150,000. If not higher, but that's going to be fluid because again, we need to just respond as we're in this.
Sure, thank you. Appreciate it.
Cool.
And if I can add really quickly, so that's for Mecklenburg County. Some of you all may be doing some extended work outside of Mecklenburg. There is a fund in Iredell. There's the Iredell COVID-19 Response Fund, which the United Way of Iredell is administering. There's also the Cabarrus County COVID-19 Fund, which we again, along with United Way, is administering. So there are activities that are beginning to emerge and pop up all around Charlotte.
Great. We got time for maybe one more question. Anybody else want to unmute and ask? All right. Well, cool. Thank you, Kiva, for your time.
Thank you for having me. I'll be glad to come back anytime. I saw that, you had to get the exclusive Zoom invitation. So anytime I'm happy to come back. But I see Charles Thomas is on the phone. So, on the call. So I'm sure he's going to share quite a bit about the CARES Act too. So thank you all. God bless. You all stay safe.
Indeed. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Davita, you want to pivot to ASC?
Yeah, all right. So next we're gonna have the homie Ebony join us. I know she's here on the call. Ebony is I'm trying to find your official title. Hold 1 second, Ebony. I was prepared. Hold on, but my phone. Hold on. Okay. Yes. Ebony Lewis is the program director of culture blocks for the Arts and Science Council. I'm sure many of us on the call are very familiar with Arts and Science Council, so definitely grateful to have you. I know and Liz is on the call as well. So if you would please just share with us any new initiatives that you have that ASC is doing in response to COVID at this time, please, ma'am.
Well, thank you all so much for having me. So first of all, you might have to give me a little heads up if my internet connection is unstable, because I just got a message on my screen. So if you can't hear me, just let me know. So again, thank y'all so much for having me. As Davita mentioned, I am with Arts and Science Council, And the Arts and Science Council, if you're not aware, has started at the Mecklenburg Creatives Resiliency Fund in response to COVID-19 as a way to try to provide some relief to the creatives in Mecklenburg County. The fund was launched and went live last week, and so the first kind of round of applicants were notified this week, as a matter of fact. Unfortunately, we don't have big bank like Foundation for the Kids.
And we've lost you, Ebony. Ebony?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so I'm gonna just keep my video off. That might help some.
Okay.
All right. So like I was saying, so we were able to seed the relief fund with $20,000. And as you all are all aware, this past November, we, made a plea to the county with regards to the sales tax referendum in order to get money, because we have been struggling, if you will, to receive funding. And the way that we were able to even seed this fund was by shifting monies that were earmarked for professional development and capacity building. Because with COVID-19, we're not able to, gather together. A lot of things had to be canceled. It is a fund where people can donate. So on our website, and if you haven't visited, there is a page that is solely dedicated.
Ebony? Liz, I know you're on the call as well. If you could speak to anything, since we're losing Ebony here.
Let's see.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not as well prepared as Ebony, I'm sure. But Ebony, jump in whenever you can.
Okay.
As Ebony was saying, we have started to make those funds available. It's up to $500 that is specifically responding to folks who have lost wages that because of cancellations, to gigs, to events that are happening in the community. It is also for folks who are having emerging medical costs that were unanticipated because of COVID-19. That can include healthcare that folks are needing. If you're experiencing additional depression or anxiety and you're needing counseling for that and you want help covering that, this fund can help with those expenses. The other way that we are helping is for folks that have had kids in dependent or other dependents that were in childcare that are now, or that were in school and now you're having to cover for childcare while you work. We can use this fund to help cover some of those dependent care expenses. So there are some different ways that we can support folks who are being adversely affected by COVID-19. The application we designed to be as simple as we can, but what we really need from folks is to be as clear as you can in an application about exactly how you were affected. What was the date of the event that was canceled? Who was that with? When did that cancellation occur? How much were you anticipated being the fee that you were going to get for that event? So as much detail as you can provide is really helpful, but we've meant to keep the application itself simple for folks. As the foundation was mentioning, this is really a fund that we have set up and seeded it with support, but we mean to kind of grow how much we're able to give based on what people are bringing into the fund too. So if you have $5 or $10 to be able to contribute, we'll make sure that that gets to your fellow creatives in this community who are needing that support right now to be able to pay their bills. Ebony, are you still around?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, jump in.
Okay, all right. Thank you for jumping in, Liz.
Absolutely.
In addition to the, as we mentioned, the Mecklenburg Creatives Resiliency Fund, like I said, there's a host of other relief funding opportunities as well on ASC's website. And when I share that information, I tell people to make sure to check that website daily, because we continue to update it as we hear about more funding opportunities. In addition to what Liz said about making sure to show proof for loss of funds, it's something actually I saw another creator mention today in the interview she was doing, was a recommendation, a suggestion to go ahead and have your story in terms of the loss and the way that you've been impacted kind of ready, so that as these funding opportunities pop up, you're able to like copy and paste and you have all your documentation together. Again, the key thing is making sure to show clear documentation that there's loss of funding due to cancellations of events, of performances. Yeah. It's interesting to be that right after Blues finished, when you said, tell everybody your Cash App, you know, as a lot of people are transitioning to doing virtual, you know, programming and activities, like I keep telling people, put your Cash App information out there. A lot of people are looking for ways to help. Like that, I think is therapeutic for people and trying to help each other through this time. And even, you know, as Liz and Kiva mentioned, you know, $5, $10, $15 is $5, $10, $15 more than what, you know, somebody had. So by all means, it's great to share what you're doing. And also I'm sure it's therapeutic to continue your creative practice online or virtually, but, you know, like everybody has bills that need to be paid. And so put your information out there, right?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that, Ebony and Liz. Was that everything you had to share? If so, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions at this time.
I think so. Liz, is there anything else you can think of?
You're the master, Ebony. You got it.
The master.
I wish.
Right. No pressure.
Yeah, but definitely questions.
Yeah, please, at this time, any questions? And also in the chat, there's the link that was dropped for the resiliency fund. So FYI. So yeah, questions, anyone?
Yeah, I've got a quick question.
Okay, sorry.
Can I get? Yeah, very quickly. My name is William McNeely, and my organization applied for one of the culture block grants. How is the COVID situation affecting those grants, and are there going to be any changes going forward as to how you release those grants and any stipulations that might be appropriated with that?
Good question, William. So actually, I sent out an email this afternoon. So we did move forward. We had the panel meeting actually this past Tuesday. So the panelists reviewed and scored the applications. And so the Culture Blocks team is actually in the process of compiling the feedback. So we will be able to notify applicants next Friday. I think it's what's tomorrow? Anyway, it's a week from tomorrow, about the application status. One of the things I mentioned in that email is because we don't know, you know, what June, July is going to look like, you know, with regards to the shelter-in-place order, and even if once that's lifted, we don't know what county facilities practices are going to be as it relates to opening their doors up for, you know, people. So we plan to continue to move forward, you know, with again having Culture Blocks programs. One of the things that probably you will be asked is it possible to do your program virtually? Okay. You know, if that is a possibility. So as a way to, again, to continue to have opportunities for people that are sheltered in place or can't get out and about. But our plan is to still continue to move forward with Culture Blocks programs. One of the challenges too is, you know, because the Culture Blocks program is funded by Mecklenburg County, for the next fiscal year, we have not been told yet what our budget is going to be because the county hasn't set their budget, that hasn't been voted on. So all of the applications that are approved, you know, is very clear in saying that, of course, is contingent upon the funding that we receive from Mecklenburg County. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I just was wondering if there was any flexibility in how we provide those programs going forward, obviously because of the fact that we might not be able to do things in person.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
So I had a question. Hello? Oh, snap.
Yes, I hear you.
Hey. So my question was, like, so me, I do like motivational like assemblies where me and my partner, we travel the nation. Like we've been to a bunch of schools across the nation, but we're based out of Charlotte. So with that being the case, like if we applied for the grant, would that be applicable to us if we can if we have like the list of cancellations, and also would we be able to submit individually, or is it only for shows that were booked in the Mecklenburg or Charlotte area? Is it a
Great,
national listing, or is it just?
great question. So you have to be a resident of Mecklenburg. Let me clarify. Are you speaking about the Creative Resiliency Fund?
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
So you have to be a resident of Mecklenburg County to apply, but
Okay.
the canceled work did not have to take place in Mecklenburg County. So it could have been, a performance or a gig or an event that you had booked that was in Nebraska, right? Just as long as you can show proof of, cancellation of the event and the lost wage or income from that event.
Okay.
Yep.
So with there being like multiple people, will we submit multiple applications individually, or will we have to submit for the performance group?
You would submit, I guess that's a great question. Liz, I don't know if you'd be required to submit if it'd be best to submit as a group or the individual.
This fund is set up to support creative individuals. So because there are other sources of support for organizations, we've focused this on individuals and how are you personally being impacted by this. So each Mecklenburg resident that's part of your group could apply.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Cool. We have Trey.
Right. Can you distinguish applicants who are affected by cancellations versus postponements and how funding looks? So Trey, you're speaking about the Resiliency Fund?
He may be in a place to speak.
Okay. So with cancellations versus postponement, that's a really good question. With postponements, that basically means there's still the possibility or potential for that event to take place. And so that's why the decision is made to provide funding for those who can show events, performances that have been canceled. Did that answer that, Trey? Did he?
He hasn't responded yet. I think he's typing now.
Okay.
Yes, he said that answers.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. We may have time for just one more quick question, if anybody else has one.
And if you think of something after this call, my email information is on the Arts and Science Council's website, so please don't hesitate to reach out. Liz is also available by email as well. So if you have any questions about this fund or anything else ASC related, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Cool. Thank you, Ebony. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Indeed.
I have one question.
Oh, here we go.
How's it going, everyone? It's Malik Lloyd here. I was just wondering if you can touch on the forms of documentation required for proof of cancellation. Is that in the email form or contract, or how is that?
It could
judged?
it could be like email notification from the organization or the organizer to say this event has been canceled due to COVID-19. It could be a flyer that has across canceled due to COVID-19. It could be the contract again that shows the funding that would have been made. Again, there still just has to be the clear documentation that the event or thing was canceled.
Ebony, if I can, I'm just going to add, you can also include the contact information for the person or the organization that had hired you. If you don't have written documentation, but we could call the person to verify this was how much we had planned to pay for the service and we've canceled the event, that contact information can also be helpful to us for verifying.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to my guy Tim Scott, and also this is Daily. I don't think I officially introduced myself, but we're going to pivot and move to my guy Tim Scott, who again is CEO of Tamar Entertainment, also a member of Fair Play Music Equity Initiative here in Charlotte, as well as he's an artist in resident at the Charlotte Center City Partners. He's going to talk about some opportunities for funding and support on the music side of things. Tim Scott.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? As Daily said, I'm Tim Scott with Tamar Entertainment, also with Charlotte Center City Partners and Music Everywhere CLT. One of the things that Music Everywhere is working on, just to kind of piggyback on the efforts of organizations like Foundation for the Carolinas and ASC, is a Music Everywhere Relief Fund catered towards musicians and music professionals in general. So that could mean, you know, the DJs, the producers, the background singers, the studio musicians, the cover musicians, singer-songwriters, everybody. If you work in the music industry in the city, we want to be part of the support system for, you know, trying to help us all get over this COVID-19 hump. So one of the things that we're doing is we started with Avid Exchange, who is the initial funder for Music Everywhere as a whole. So we started with them as far as tapping them for some additional resources, which they've agreed to, as well as tapping into some of our other partners. For those of you who may not be familiar with Charlotte Center City Partners and Music Everywhere, Center City Partners partners with a number of larger organizations across the Charlotte area, across a number of industries, from financial, government, parks, all that stuff. So we work with a vast number of organizations and companies and businesses here in the city. So we're working with them to continue to pour some more funds into the relief, and the hope is for the fund to be announced officially next week. I think we said Wednesday is when we were going to try to announce, and then start opening up the application process, just to try to be as fair as possible and try to reach as many people as we possibly can. I think as of right now, we're thinking about structuring it as like flat $500 grants per applicant. You know, once somebody's approved, and much like we heard from ASC, we just want to have some kind of documentation that shows, hey, like, you know, I was expecting this, and this is the event, or these are the events that got canceled, or, you know, are no longer happening due to the coronavirus outbreak. So that's a short, you know, blanket statement of how things are going so far and what we kind of want to do. And yeah.
Cool. Appreciate it, Tim. And also, just to give a little bit more, I forgot to mention, I think you mentioned already, Tim, Music Everywhere Charlotte and Fair Play are partnering to create this fund. Again, next Wednesday, we'll be announcing when people can start to apply. But also, I'm dropping in the chat links for both Music Everywhere Charlotte and Fair Play on Instagram. So just follow those, as well as I know we have a couple, or actually more like 3 individuals who are involved in the music scene here in Charlotte. Please, if you know a musician or artist that's not here on this Zoom meeting, please share it with them, because again, much like ASC, once you put the word out there, people are going to apply and the money is going to be gone. So we're going to do our best because there will be a committee that goes through the applications to make sure those who receive these funds reflect the diversity of Charlotte and is equitable for the entire community, but also those who are in most need. I mean, thankfully, I mean, myself as a producer, as well as a recording artist, I'm in a space where I do have clients outside of the music arena. So I'm not as in as much need as some of my other artist friends or producer friends who, again, they lost gigs and they have no streams of income coming in. So someone like me, I'd rather sit back and let other people know about it. So we want to make sure that's the same for what we're doing with this fund. So again, dropped a couple links for Music Everywhere Charlotte and Fair Play in the chat. Please go and follow those to keep updated when that fund opens up, as well as just share with your friends that are in the music community. But we're going to open up for questions if we have any. So go ahead and unmute yourself and speak up if you got a question. All right, sounds like you did a good job, Tim. Ain't no questions, my guy. Appreciate it.
All good.
Indeed. So we're going to turn it back over to Davita, and we're going to move into the second half of the block.
Well, before I do that, because I just, you know me, real quick, Charles, I know that you're here. Not to put you on the spot, Charles Thomas, you're still here. Not to put you on the spot, but guys, if you don't know, he's the program director for Knight Foundation. And I guess the question is there anything that you can share at this time, if you care to?
Sure, I can share what Knight Foundation has done so far as it relates to COVID-19, and maybe share what I hope is coming down the pipe for us. So for those who don't know, I'm the Charlotte Program Director for the Knight Foundation. So I'm the local representative. We are a national foundation based out of Miami. We focused on supporting journalism, arts, and community engagement in the Knight cities where the Knight newspapers were located. So here in Charlotte, I have a specific focus over in the historic West End. So about a week and a half ago, Knight Foundation, in response to the emergency around COVID-19, made a grant of $500,000 into Charlotte to support the United Way Foundation for the Carolinas Fund that Kiva talked about. So I'm excited that we're here to support the community, support those folks that are negatively impacted by COVID-19 and a loss of whether it be jobs or homes and so forth. And so the majority of that funding is set aside for that. I am working furiously and advocating for portions of that fund to be supportive of arts organizations and artists. That's to be determined, as I've been in conversations with Davita and Daly. There's definitely objectives to have that be decided in the next week or two, if not sooner, and to continue to do the work that we do, which is to not only support works in journalism, but also support arts. And so what we're looking at is supporting not only arts organizations, but also individual artists. So I would say stay tuned for what Knight will be providing as it relates to the art scene. This definitely took us aback. We were on track for, last year we did an open call called Celebrate Charlotte Arts, where we were able to make about 12 grants in a total of $200,000. And so with COVID-19, that's kind of thrown off what we typically do at this time of the year with our open call. So we're kind of realigning what we typically do and setting and kind of be in alignment with the times and making sure that we're supporting our community as well as our artists here in Charlotte. So that's where we're at now, but I'm happy to come back and share more once we have confirmed all of our commitments as it relates to this challenging times.
Thank you for sharing, Charles. And for going with the flow, for me just calling you out.
All good. Hey, I know how it is. It's cool.
Okay, appreciate it. Okay, Day. Now we can move forward. Is that cool?
Yes, so we can move forward.
Okay. Okay, so now at this time we'll open it up for a community conversation surrounding, different ways we've had to pivot your art and your business to survive in the midst of all of this COVIDness going on. I know specifically for us with Hugh, this is an example, right? Because usually we have our meetings, our monthly gatherings, like in a real physical space. And now, of course, we aren't able to do so. We've had to pivot and have all of our shenanigans happen via Zoom, such as what's happening tonight. Also, a few other things regarding Hugh, like workshops that we've created with various organizations are now being conducted in the digital realm as well. So, just having to do a lot of pivoting, but, as artists and creatives and entrepreneurs, we're used to doing just that. So with Dup and Swat specifically, so we've had to literally close because we make most of our money with events. And so since there are very strict limitations on gatherings, we are now, my brother and I, having a conversation about how we can continue to keep our name, our brand in the forefront and, on people's minds and brains. And also chatting about like, what's next? Like, how are we going to come out of this? Because eventually we all will. So what's the plan? So those are just some of the conversations that we are currently having. For me personally, in this time, in this space, in this downtime, I'm doing a lot of creating and just taking advantage of that and learning how various platforms are best suited for what I am creating, if that makes sense. Revamping websites, learning new hobbies, all of the things is I'm just taking advantage of the downtime. So that's how I am pivoting. That's how we as an organization, Hugh House, is pivoting in these times, Day. You care to add anything and how you're adjusting, and then we'll open it up for everyone else to share.
Let's go ahead and open it up, because I think, and again, a big part of what we envision for the block is less being talked to and is more about discussions and discovering amongst one another. So we definitely want to please, chime in, unmute yourself, and just share again, how is this time actually pushing you to innovate with what you do, whether it's spoken word like blues, or whether you're a performing artist, whether you're a fine artist, what have you. Just how is this creating an opportunity for you to expand how you do what you do? So anybody want to get this convo rolling?
Anyone could jump in.
Yo, I jump in, right? So me and my group, like last about two weeks ago, on the 28th, we were supposed to be celebrating 10 years of us working together, my organization, the Justice League. You know what I'm saying? So we like deep. We like 15, 20 people deep. We like Wu-Tang in Charlotte. You know what I mean? And it ended up being, of course, I missed all of the COVID-ness. We said social distancing and the limited number, like we couldn't do the show. So we just innovated. We one of my homeboys' churches was open. We found a joint. We set it up live, like pre-recorded it, premiered it, and the event was like it was a super success. It was mad fun. We got like 3,500 people like check it out, was streaming in. It was banoodles, you know what I'm saying? But just really just being innovative about using what you have that's limited. There's people that's around you that's able like to tap into the show into the show the time, to get the gift, you know what I'm saying, and help you push out, you know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I know, just trying to get back into producing more, playing games. I ain't played no games in a minute, you know what I'm saying? It's really getting back to relaxing, because when you're an artist, like you're on the road day after day after day after day, you know what I'm saying? Just always thinking about the next show, the next event, the next song. It just, you know what I'm saying, you get stuck into that mode. And for a while, it was uncomfortable being so still. You know what I'm saying? Just being so still, being so like relaxed. And I'm saying, but just getting back into the groove of rest. Everybody needs a season of rest. For a lot of us, I know that it's not having work, but it's learning how to rest and reset again. I mean, so when this time does open up, we're refreshed and ready to go with new songs, new ideas. We setting waves, we setting standards, we're building new relationships, we're learning to navigate different platforms. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool. I mean, I've enjoyed it more or less. You know what I mean? Dope.
Dope. Cool. Appreciate it. Cut right. Anybody want to chime in off of that? So actually, I have a question for my man William. Again, I know you just honestly put your truck on the street. I'd love to hear more about how, again, that's very much a physical space for you that you've created for youth to learn about technology and things of that nature. How have you been thinking about how do you pivot, being that you can't be in these neighborhoods offering this to youth?
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know, I'm William McNeely and run a foundation. I'm not necessarily an artist per se, but I run a foundation called the Do Greater Foundation, and our focus has always been on creating an atmosphere for for kids to learn and understand technology, and we do that through a physical truck that we renovated. It's actually a old Lance cookie truck, and we turned it into a technology lab that we take into underserved and under-resourced communities. And so it's outfitted with iPads, technology, screens, and we had started to teach entrepreneurship principles in the community, and we're having some success based around that. But obviously, our focus had always been, and our hubs have been in schools, in K-8 schools, Ashley Park, Devonshire, variety of different schools in the community. And so when schools shut down, our partnership base pretty much shut down. And then from a standpoint of having kids actually inside the truck, we couldn't do that as well either. So we had to kind of take a step back and say, what's our core function, our core purpose, and can we reevaluate and do this in a different way? Can we offer these services in a different form or fashion? And we had created a curriculum around entrepreneurship. So our next steps are at this point to transition that entire program online. And so we're preparing to do a 8-week entrepreneurship academy for youth online. That takes them through the entire process of creating businesses all the way through a pitch competition. But as we were doing that, it's kind of like what Davida said. It's like, how do you start to pivot and rearrange what you do? But then secondly, down the road, how do you prepare coming out of this? What does organization? So what we started to do was to say, we have a way of distributing technology in the community mobily. We transition not only mobily, but to a physical space as well. And so really started the process of driving around and said, what would it look like? Took this entire process into a physical space. And I tell you, in the midst of situations, there's always a bright spot. I believe there's always an opportunity for you to come out of this better. So we actually have a partnership now with a community-based organization that's going to give us free physical space to create a full-fledged entrepreneurship academy for youth, specifically focused on middle school into the high school. So this entire process for us over the next couple of months is to roll out our online platform and then plan for the fundraising for a physical space that will offer these kids a very creative entrepreneurial environment where hopefully people like us can come together and show these kids how to be artists, how to be creatives, how to be entrepreneurs, and how to move forward, even in the midst of tragedy, even in the midst of challenges and obstacles like we're dealing with now. So, from my standpoint, it really has given me a kind of a sense of, okay, take your time, take a deep breath. Let's go through the same processes that I teach the kids. Hey, I'm teaching them how to create businesses and how to create lean canvases to try to understand what your business is all about. let me do that myself and really understand who my community is and what my focus is, and then move processes toward that. So yeah, I mean, and Dave knows, I mean, I am one of those immunocompromised people that have to stay inside. I've been inside for 5 weeks. I mean, I have literally have not been out but a couple times in almost 5 weeks. And so, yeah, I'm a little stir crazy, but at the same time, I think it's given me an opportunity to really get back down to the essence of why I exist and why I did this in the first place, and to make sure that I understood that, can pivot online, and then can have a future going forward, for the next 6.
That's dope, man.
Cool.
That's dope. So I know Carla put something in the chat. You want to share that, Carla?
Yeah, man, I'm right here. How y'all doing this evening? I hope y'all are good. What I realized that as Mr. McNeely, I can't break out of Mr. and Miss because I'm dying to go back to work and teach my kids. But McNeely, what I want to let you know is that the work that you're doing, I do it right now on a middle school level. And the middle school I teach at is a Title I school in CMS. And what we have, literally, we have a $250,000 innovation lab that would match what your mobile lab has. And when in my classroom, I keep my classroom a traditional art classroom where it's based on exploration, and that's by identity and by materials. But when I work with other groups of students, it is about combining art and technology to create a product. And what I left in the chat was that I would be able to support you when school is back in session with getting to more students that fall into the group of folk you want to work with, because that's Verizon's huge thing. Verizon's thing is making sure underprivileged students have access to technology in order to improve their educational circumstances. And I have literally done everything from run an AR/VR hackathon a whole day across so many different grade levels of students, to just working with 10 kids and getting them to create something to answer a problem. And what I always tell my students is that I'm not going to teach you the answer. You're going to have to figure out how to tell me the answer, because literally that's how the real world works. I'm gonna mute myself, y'all. I feel weird.
No, thanks, Carla. Good stuff. So anybody else want to chime in? Again, this is a time we want to, again, share what we're doing, at least what we're thinking about, because that could potentially help someone else, just like what happened right there with William and Carla. So anybody want to chime in?
Well, Vivian says she has a few questions. So Vivian, you want to go ahead and ask those?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. What's up? I just want to say everybody's so dope. I love how everyone's coming together and finding a way to support each other. Cutright, I don't know your first name, if that's your first name, but I appreciate you sharing that you had a successful event. My question is, there's a lot of people that I know that have had big launches that they were planning on doing, whether it be an album or, a book of some sort. And I was wondering if they're looking for a location. Davida, would you all be open to allowing someone to host an individual launch of something? There may not be people attending, but they could film there.
Was that to me, Vivian?
Yes, Davida.
I'm like, it's an affirmative. We here for the community. It's a yes.
Okay, because I know that, there's risk as far as, how close you can be to people. So I just want to put that out there, and that's something that I can give to, some of my friends and let them know. I think it's an awesome idea. My second question is just more of suggestions, I guess, that people can chime in or type, but I have friends that have salons and they are barbers and also like makeup artists. Have y'all seen anything as far as what they can do to continue their businesses that's innovative right now with this shift? Because I don't have, anything I could think of, but.
Gotcha. So I have a friend who's a barber, used to be in Charlotte, but now is in Arkansas. But and he started his own shop, actually a couple of them. And what I've seen him do is actually offer how would you say, online tutorials on how to cut your hair. Because a lot of guys got clippers, but they garbage. So he actually gets on calls or FaceTimes or whatever with some of his clients and actually helps them through the process of what they need to do to cut their hair. You know what I mean? So again, he's still connecting with his clientele as well as, I mean, he's helping them to not butcher their heads. So that's just an idea. Because again, to chime back on William, and even what we're doing with Hugh House is like, yo, we're all about community and again about sharing knowledge as well as informing, equipping, and empowering. That's something that can happen digitally. Of course, we rather it happen in physical space, but that's something that can happen digitally. So I think just starting at, okay, what is your vision for what you have and how you want to put it to use? And then, okay, how can I facilitate that online or digitally to whatever degree? I think that'll be a good place to start. But just within the barber space, that's something I've seen a friend do.
Yo, can I just speak on the barber joint? Like I just saw a story. I don't know if everybody saw it in Lake Charles, Florida. There was a barber that was cutting a police officer's hair. He got a lot of backlash and stuff. But the police officer was like, because he wasn't charging for it, but because he was volunteering his service, that it was like legal because it wasn't like a business. So I guess, you know what I mean? If they could have, hey, you ain't paying the barber, but you pay the barber wife, you know what I'm saying, through the Cash App and have them cut like that. I don't know. That be, you know, some way to route around it. If they're trying to do it, you know, like a home visit or something like that, possibly, and just have it pay somebody else like that's connected to him directly, and you know they cash out the barber the money around. So it's not actually a business transaction that's going on, but it's still business. You know what I'm saying?
In addition to that, hey guys, it's Nikki. One of my cousins is in the Virginia Beach area, and she has her own nail salon. So one of the things that she has been doing is she's been preparing a digital ebook, and then she'll go live just to kind of give people pointers on how to keep your nails healthy and still looking good throughout this pandemic. So I think really the big thing is just kind of leaning on as many digital products as possible. People may not be able to do what you do with your hair, with your nails, with your makeup, whatever, but people will pay to get your knowledge. So that's her way of being able to kind of compensate for not being able to work out of her shop in this time, but just really giving pointers, because I don't know about a lot of the ladies that are on, you know, you go and you're trying to get nail polish remover and nail filers, and they're not there because people are taken to their homes to figure out how they can beef up their skills. So people will pay you for your knowledge, even if you're not physically there, for them to be able to see your skill set come to fruition right in front of them, but they will pay you for the knowledge. So any way that you can do that, I think that's dope. And then of course everybody has seen what D Nice has been doing with DJing and partying and, you know, unifying the people with music. I just think you got to find your lane and do something that'll make you feel good, make other people feel good, and just see what kind of magic you can cook up from there. But it's been genius stuff that I've been seeing so far.
Dope. Thanks for sharing, Nikki. Anybody else want to chime in with any thoughts?
Ebony, real quick, you posted something in the chat. Was that for Greens and Chuckles, the Learn with Lopez thing?
No, Carla posted a video about street art. She did a YouTube video that I saw somebody share on Facebook, and then I shared it, and somebody commented that their son was really excited about watching that video. So just to your point about transitioning and sharing, you know, your craft with others, you know, and how to do that. So I was curious to know if Carla is planning to continue to do that. I see she stepped away.
I don't see her anymore. Okay.
I was also going to suggest that in her description for YouTube that she put her Cash App information as well. Again, people, you know, you just never know who's watching, and you know, people of course love and enjoy being able to learn and appreciate things that are free, but people also can and will support financially as well. So.
Sure. Thank you. Anyone else want to share anything at this moment?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Trey.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is the first time I'm using this thing, so bear with me, y'all.
You got it, man. You got it.
Technology challenged, all right? But first of all, I run a film festival, and I'm actually going into my 4th year. It's called the Sin Odyssey Film Festival. And what I'm learning is that sometimes things happen for a reason to sort of force you to pivot. I thought it was interesting because last year at the end of our 3rd year festival, I started thinking about the idea of making the festival a hybrid festival in which, we would have, the physical space, but also doing more things virtually, because when you look at all the platforms that are out now, Hulu and definitely Netflix and platforms like that, people are, I don't know if they're not going to the movies theaters as much. They go to the big tentpole movies, but the smaller movies, the independent type films, people are getting their fix, if you will, from the other platforms like Hulu and Netflix. So what we're planning to do for this year, and God willing, we can make this happen this year, is to make our festival virtual. I discovered a really interesting platform. If you guys should check it out, it's called OVE. It's OVEE. And it's a very interesting platform because it's sort of set up like Zoom, but it's a little bit more user friendly. You have chat features, and you have where you can actually have panels live, and it's really very interesting. I demoed it last week, so I'm really definitely considering using that platform. So this is the new normal now. I mean, I don't know if people are ever going to return to going to watch movies in theaters like they did before. I do know that in the last, say, 3 or 4 years, it's been changing. So sometimes, I say all this to say, things happen for a reason. And I know for us, this may be, the kickstart to sort of, do our festivals in a different way. So.
Cool. Thanks.
That's all I got.
Good stuff. Anybody else want to chime in? Probably got enough time for a few more people to chime in if you want.
Davita and Ebony want me to chime in about #LearnWithLopez.
Chime in then.
All right, so what I've been doing in my free time now that I have to move all of my classes to a digital platform and my students are used to just walking into class and I talk for 10 minutes and then they make stuff for another 60 minutes. What I've resorted to is making videos called Learn with Lopez, because I like to talk a lot. It's just getting information out to the public. I hate it when people use words over regular people's heads. If you're an intellectual, there's a difference between an intellectual, an academic, and a scholar. A scholar learns their subject very well. An academic only focuses on higher education, and both of these people forget about the common man. There are more common men than there are academics and scholars. Therefore, the intellectual exists to have a conversation with the common man, the intellectual, and the scholar. If I'm going to teach the children of the common men, I cannot use any language that's above their heads and their parents' heads. So I'm thinking now is a very good time to start breaking down these concepts, a lot of art concepts. I've taught so many people in just a regular language and put it in video format. And I think Davida said you deep. Yes, I am deep. but I think now is a good time to get my voice out there because I don't think creativity and arts should be only reserved to one group of people. That's ridiculous. People at any given moment can pick up a paintbrush and a canvas and a paint palette and go to town with it and swear to God it's the best thing ever. That's awesome. I want you to talk about your work. I want my students to talk about the artwork they see on the streets, and I want my students to be able to know that their opinion matters as much as we value each other's opinion. A child has a great point of view. It's just, pulling it out of them, getting them to give meaning to what they're talking about. That is the hard work. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is go ahead, start shooting episode number 2, because I'm a perfectionist, I'm an overachiever, and I hate my first episode, but I'm still gonna upload my first episode away from my CMS account and put it into my personal YouTube account so more people can actually access it, because I just don't believe that you need everything in the world to just say what you got to say or learn what you have to know. A big point I drive home for a lot of creatives is the only difference between you and somebody that goes to art school is the effort these people put forth into perfecting their craft, and you don't need school for that. Art school was a wonderful experience for me, but to be honest, there's so many people that have had to learn what they know on the go that they're just as much of an expert as if they put the 4 years work in. And I think that that's what, first of all, thank you, Ebony. I saw your text, like you shared it. Thank you. But like, I think that that's the kind of work that we have to do going forward. When I take on new people to mentor with the arts, I often tell them, I really want you to take this debt that I'm in from art school and use it to your advantage. If I just sit on the debt and never tell anybody about it, then it's like I'm still in debt. But I do feel a payoff when I share with new young Black creatives different avenues that they can take. That's not the classic, you got to move to New York to just support the arts in your community. No, you can support the arts in your community. That's fine. You just need to show that you have the grit and the urgency to keep moving with that one subject instead of 50 million other things that's going to throw you off track. So I'm putting all my focus into only 2 things, art and education. And that's exactly what I'm going to focus on until it's time for me to go back to my classroom. That's my piece right there. I'm happy Ebony and Davita digged it because that was super cool.
It's dope. So I want to, chat was going crazy while you were talking about that. And again, I think in these beginning stages of the block, it's very important that we make it very clear what the block is about. And a big part of the block is creating a space where we as creatives, artists of color can be affirmed. There's a lot of affirmation going on in that chat. So I want to give everybody a chance to unmute yourself and actually affirm her, please.
Carla, this is Tim Scott. You and I don't know each other, but I think that's a super, super dope idea. Even just leading with the idea of distinguishing the difference between the intellectual scholar, the academic, and the common man. That's a conversation that I've had with quite a few people, and to hear someone else, bring that up and to use that concept to further education, I think is amazing. So kudos to you.
Cool, thank you. That was super
Very
cool.
welcome. Very welcome.
Hey, Carla, this is Vivian. I just want to know if we can be friends. I would like to.
We can totally be friends. I don't have that many girlfriends. I know guys for days, but I need to collect more women.
I would love to hang with you, but I'm over here hype. This is beautiful. I look forward to seeing your videos, and I'm gonna share them like crazy.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much, man.
Carla, I'm gonna jump in real quick. Lo, I've known you for forever, but I always gotta tell you, like, you're the most intelligent, ratchet gangster I know, and I appreciate it. Okay, bye.
I love you too, Meg. That was super cool.
Thanks, Carla. I definitely want to link up with you at some time. Maybe you can sit on a panel at my film festival. So let's connect.
I'm down. I think you would be my second one. My first one was a very, very small Black film festival in Atlanta. I can't remember. It was a decade ago and a lot of drugs ago. I'm sorry, baby, but I'm down to do it again.
Okay, thank you.
Dope. So before I forget, Carla, please drop if you got Cash App or what have you, drop it in the chat. Again, I think there are people who obviously that dig your idea and what you're doing, and if we can support it in any way, that'll be great. All right, so how we feeling about time, Davida? We want to give some more time. Anybody else have anything we want to share about how they're pivoting during this time or ideas they're thinking about getting off the ground?
Yeah, I think we have time.
I have a question. Is it possible for the people that are on the chat that haven't said anything yet to maybe introduce themselves like quickly and say what they do as a great way for people to virtually network, or at least find out what everybody does?
Yeah, I love that idea. So whoever wants to start, have at it.
Hey, it's Nikki. I'll start. So I'm Nikki Shorty. I'm the CEO and founder of Her Life Coaching LLC and the founder of Hype Her Women's Empowerment. I'm here to be a part. I met Day at a speaking event a while ago, and now we're stuck like Chuck because we both from the same area. So I rock with them. But yeah, follow me at I Am Her Life Coach. I'll put it in the chat. And would love to connect with everyone further beyond this.
I got a question real quick. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe a good idea might be to put a directory together. Like a directory of something that we could share with everyone that has been coming to these meetings. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea, and I'll say that's one of my Corona goals. On a whiteboard, I got goals for Corona for the time we're in the house, and I think that's very much needed. It makes me think about an article that was written. Actually, Davida, you sent it to me maybe a month or so ago that just listed what was it, Black-owned restaurants and venues.
Yeah.
Again, lists like that don't exist, but they need to exist. So very much, I think that's a great idea.
Like a green book, only this is a hue book.
Exactly. Cool,
Awesome.
cool. Who wants, actually, Trey, since you on, man, introduce yourself. Well, you kind of did already, but go ahead and do it again.
Yeah, my name is Trey McGriff. I'm the founder director of the Center Odyssey Film Festival. We're actually going into our 4th year, and like I said, when I first found out about you guys establishing Hugh House, I was like, this is what we needed for a while in this community, and I've been out here grinding for like 20 years, and I've never seen a group quite like this. So kudos to the founders. Keep doing what you're doing, and you have my support.
Appreciate it, my guy. Who wants to be next? So I'm gonna start calling names. David Lighty. What up, man? Introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? David Lighty. I got Violator South. I've been in the music business for like 20 plus years. Do consulting, management, and looking for new artists, helping new artists out. Anything I can help anybody with, just feel free to hit me up. All my social media is Dave Lighty. And, I'll get back to you.
Dope. Violator. All right, who want to be next?
I can go next. All right. How's it going, everyone? My name is Malik Lloyd. I'm a younger brother of two older brothers. We actually run a video production company here in Charlotte, a family business, and we're kind of getting our feet wet with like all of the content creation and new opportunities that are coming up with everyone being online. So finding ways to build a brand, finding ways to create new content. We actually have one of our clients that did in-person trainings that are moving their classes online as well. So we're finding ways to, instead of being on the field filming, finding ways to use stock footage, animation, just creative ways to really build our brand as well as other people's brands as well. So this has been a really interesting time for us, interesting learning opportunities, and yeah, just happy to be here and observe.
Cool, man. Lord Visuals, my man. Cool. All right, who wants to go next? You're not going to force you. We can keep moving. All right.
Hi, I'll go next. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Hey, I am Tajma Allison. I go by Taj. I'm a visual artist here in Charlotte, and I've been to a couple of the blocks, and I'm just here to absorb and learn and contribute in any way possibly down the road that I can. So that's all.
Thank you. Thank you. You've been to them all now. All right. Who wants to be next? Unmute. Introduce yourself.
I already spoke again about what I'm doing with Music Everywhere, but for those of you who don't know me, once again, I'm Tim Scott. I am a musician. I've been working in the music industry for close to 20 years now. I've been working in Charlotte since 2009, 2010. I produce events for the city. I manage a bunch of artists here in the city and abroad. And I'm just part of the work, just trying to make sure that music happens in the city, trying to bring some national attention to musicians and artists and creatives in this city. I work with the city. I work with Centers to Be Partners, a number of nonprofits, work closely with Daily and Fair Play. I've been doing events at Duff and Swap for as long as I can remember. So I haven't been to a Hugh House gathering physically yet, but definitely glad to be here, glad to be involved with all of you who I haven't met yet, and looking forward to continuing to work and network with you guys and build relationships just with the people who are doing dope stuff here in the city. That's it.
Cool. Anybody want to go next? If not, we can wrap up.
I'm like, who hasn't gone? I'll call them out. No.
Don't do that.
I'm not. I've already had my take of that for tonight. All right.
Got you. Cool, cool. So thanks everyone for coming through for another The Block. This is our third. Again, we are looking to be a space where artists and creative entrepreneurs of color can be affirmed, equipped, and empowered to be a part of this thriving creative industry in the United States. Thank you for coming out, as well as lending your voice, because again, this is a space where we're not trying to talk at you guys. This is a space where we're trying to give you all the stage to honestly share information, because I think a collective voice is what we need. Hugh House has 3 co-founders. That's a great thing, but honestly, a collective community is even greater than that. So that's what The Block is all about, creating a space for that. So before we leave, definitely want to let y'all know about May the 14th, which will be our next The Block. It will be happening again via Zoom. Please share as we post about it. Share with your friends that are not here, who couldn't make it. I'm actually going to drop a link in the chat where you can RSVP actually right now if you would like. Let me copy that for you. And voila, there you go. You can actually copy, click that, whatever, into your browser, and you can RSVP right now. And just to give you a little insight into what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about the importance of vision as well as building your brand. Again, we got a lot of time on our hands, and we think this is the perfect time for you to be honing in on who are you, what are you doing, and also how do you develop that and put it out there to the world. And actually, we're going to have Ms. Nikki Shorty, who's actually on the call, be a part of that. She has an amazing story, a very inspiring story. She's super focused. Again, you'll be able to learn more about that at the block at May 14th. But we're also going to have the CEO of JSW, Ms. Jamaica S. Witten, who does a lot of PR within the entertainment realm. And again, she on a practical level is going to lend some information about, okay, how do I practically take my vision and put it out to the world? So make sure, again, the link's in the chat. Go ahead, RSVP for that. Again, we'll be leaking more information about that as the date gets clearer. But again, we want to thank you all for, again, coming to the block. Please tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. Again, this is about a collective voice. It's about us being able to share together. So thank you, and until next time, peace.